Hey guys, this is Lindsay Smith with LS Photoshop Actions, and this week we are doing some picture editing. I was very fortunate that I had a great, awesome first image from Vintage Bow Photography. You can check her out at facebook.com/VBphotog. I recorded this video and didn't, for some reason, have my microphone turned on, which seems to be the problem more often times than not. But we have an awesome image of a baby on a beach that is underexposed, but super cute, and I'm really excited that this is the first image. Okay, so this is the original image, and I'm going to show a couple ways that I've edited. We do a clean edit, and then I'll show you the actions, harvest actions, since fall is right around the corner, and then I'll show you the finished product. Sorry that my kiddos are in the background going crazy. Okay, so I am turning off, duplicating my image. This is one of the images that I was playing with, the actions and then a clean edit, although I don't think I did any retouching. Okay, so let's get started. Chloe, it's her chair. I am duplicating my background layer. You can pull it down to the page and it will create a background, or you can hit Control J. I'm opening Camera Raw Filter, and I'm pulling my exposure. I'm just dragging it to the right from the exposure area to even it out. You'll see here in a second where the hump is equally in the middle, bringing up our exposure on the image. Then I'm selecting the brush tool within ACR, and I am using the presets. Okay, sorry, I had to pause for a minute because of the kiddos. So I am using the Summer Joy ACR presets right now, the local settings. I'm using the one that says number 4, brush on skin, hair, clothes, everything that is maybe underexposed on your client. So next I'm going to click New, and I'm going to lower the exposure down just to about 12.12, and I'm going to lower the blacks to a -5, and I'm just going to paint over his eyes. I have this weird thing where I like to, sometimes I really have to work on it, where I will overdo the eyes. My children sometimes coming out looking like werewolves or vampires, so I'm like, be natural, Lindsay, be natural. So if you catch me going a little bit overboard with the eyes, just forgive me. That's like my favorite thing, especially blue-eyed little babies. Now I'm going to the sharpen layer whenever I decide to click on it. It's been super hard to record with kiddos, I'll tell you that. I'm going to turn the luminance up because as we have turned up the exposure, the noise in the image has really come out to play. So I'm turning the luminance up to 20, and I'm going to turn the color up as well to about 9. And I'm about to show you a before and then after we've fixed the exposure. And much better. It looks so much better. Chloe, Lena, I'm not going to say it again. I'm going to take out the headlights because they're a little bit distracting. I am also making an action for this. I haven't come out with it yet. I'm going to straighten the image because the beach is a little bit crooked. Not much, just to my eye it's a little bit crooked. It may be fine to everybody else. So within the crop tool there is a straighten tool. And to me I like that so much better. And I am going to retouch his face with the healing brush. Babies don't really have too many blemishes, so it makes it super easy to clean up their face. But babies tend to not really need too much done, so they're pretty quick edits. Now here are where the actions are. We are going to use the Latouche, which is basically final touch, advanced retouch, super dramatic eyes, and a harvest of memories today in this edit. I'm going to click button mode back on. And I'm going to start by editing his eyes. Now normally, most people would probably start with retouching the skin, but I like to start with the eyes. It's my favorite, like I said. So this is the Fix Under Eye Circles tool that I've given you, and you just want to take your patch tool and select around the dark circle under his eye, pull it to a clean spot, hit Fix Under Eye Circles, and it gets rid of it, but still keeps it there where it looks natural and not like you've just dragged and dropped. We're going to do it again. Select your patch tool. Draw your little ants around his dark circles. Draw it to a clean space and then hit the button again. We are going to whiten his eyes. And I accidentally clicked the iris blast, but we are going to whiten. I am going to turn my brush up to 11 because right now it's at 30%. So now it's at 100. I like to keep my opacity turned up because I like to see what I'm doing. Now this is the Iris Blast tool within the Super Dramatic Eye set. And so have the other actions so far, the under eye circle, the whiten eyes. And now you've noticed I've made him look like a vampire. Oh no! So we're gonna tone it down. You can hit your backslash key to pull up this red mask to see where you've painted on, and you can click it again to turn off. I'm going to turn the opacity down because we don't want him to look like a vampire baby. I'm also turning the opacity down on the white and eye whites because I don't want him to look like the only thing that's popping out of his head are his eyes. Now again, this beautiful image is from Vintage Bow Photography. You can check her out on Facebook at facebook.com/vbowphotog. Now his legs are a little bit magenta, so I've clicked the purple reducer in advanced retouch and I'm just painting it on his legs. The opacity is still set to 100, so it was a little too much. So all you have to do is turn down the opacity to your liking. I'm also going to click the red reducer and paint a little bit of the red spots off of his tummy. And again, you can turn it down to your liking. I still like my babies to look squishy and pink, so I don't really reduce reds too much unless they look like, you know, when men are older and they have super high blood pressure and it looks like they've got a sunburn. That's really when I'll do red reducer, but just showing you today. I'm going to go to my history tab. If you don't have history, you can click window and click your history. Make sure it's got a check mark by it. I'm going to go ahead and click mine. I'm going to click the little camera at the bottom next to the trash can. It will create a snapshot of my image, so if I need to, I can click that snapshot and go back to where I was. I'm going to flatten my image. Now this is for the skin retouching, which we could have done first above everything else. It probably would have been easier to do first, but again, I'm a creature of habit and I like to work on the eyes. So there are three retouching, and then there's one foundation. So technically four. There's natural skin smoother, beauty smooth skin, and frequency separation for those who are advanced. That one is a little bit more high maintenance. So I'm going to start with the natural skin smoother. And again, my brush is set to 100 so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. And we will turn down the opacity later. Because you might be like, heck man, that doesn't look natural to me. She really smoothed him out. Now most people, once I finish the retouching of the skin, most people are pretty much done. And if you notice, it only took us a couple minutes to get to this point. Just think if you can work this into your workflow, and once you get accustomed to the actions, you can really zip through. Now I'm going to preview the Beauty Smooth Skin, which is a little bit more intense of a smoother. I like to use this on the seniors, not like elderly seniors, but like high school seniors and like models, because you know they super love smooth skin. Or if you're like my mom, she loves it too. She's always like, can you smooth my skin? I love her. She's so funny. But notice how this is a little bit more intense. But some people like that. Some people edit that creatively. They add the super smooth skin, and there is no shame in your game. It's all due to what one likes and what one prefers. And you know, if your customers book you, obviously they love what you are doing, so keep rocking it on. Now if you all like my actions, or like that I'm starting these editing videos, please go like me over on Facebook. My page is facebook.com/lsphotoshopactions. If you have an image that you would like me to edit or want me to go over any actions, you can send me a message to lsphotoretouching@gmail.com. I'd be happy to do that for you. I was super lucky. This was the very first image that I received, and it was really nice, and super cute. Now, another thing that I want to talk about, because I'm not sure if I can keep going with keeping my shop open, and I'm not trying to sell you in or make you think that I'm trying to guilt trip anybody into purchasing my products. It's just one mom to other moms, or one photographer to other photographers. I try to always make things super affordable, so I'll always have super cheap products or sales that, you know, I don't really make a profit off of, and that's okay. I prefer that. I love helping people, and if I could, honestly, I would totally give everything away for free, because I love just helping people, and I love seeing what they can come up with, and I love seeing other people achieve things and take their business further. And I was a mom in 2012 when I started, and it was hard. Everybody else was so expensive. But if you like what I'm doing, great, please purchase from me. They are wonderful to have. They will help your workflow out. They are super affordable. And if you have any questions, you can always message me at support@lsphotoretouching.com, and I'm happy to help you through anything that you have questions on. Now, right now in this video, I am doing your frequency separation, which is advanced, but once you get the hang of it, it's really quick. So right now, the blur radius for the Gaussian blur, you're setting it. You don't want his face to be super blurred out like it is right now. I believe I take it down to a 5. Yep. Now, it is in a folder, so you will have to open the folder, and you want to make sure that it is either after you have flattened your image or it is at the very top of your layers. Otherwise, you will not be able to see it. Like preview it when it's on your image. Right now in the shop, I have templates for $1.99. Everything is $1.99 template wise, and everything in the shop is 75% off or more. So that is until July 31st. Click your LF layer, your lasso tool. I'm going to turn my feather up to about 1.5 pixels. I'm just going to circle areas on his face. Now, this part on the LF layer, when you're circling, and you'll have to go into your filter and then the Gaussian blur, this is evening your tone skins out, or your, I don't know if that was right, skin tones out. There we go. You'll filter Gaussian blur. We've already set the radius to 5. Click OK. And it's going to be super subtle because it doesn't affect the texture. So the texture remains, and then it just evens out the colors, the tones. So we're going to do this to his face. Select patches of his skin, and that, since we've already played it, it's already at the very top of when you open filter. See, at the top, Gaussian blur. Hit it again, or hit Alt Control F, or if you're on Mac, Alt Command F. Now when we hit the HF layer, that will affect your textures. So whenever I had retouched the image in the beginning, with fixing the scratches or the little bit of hair in his face, or you can actually do that on the HF layer with your clone stamp tool, excuse me. Now this is a little bit more time consuming, but the outcome is that this is what looks the best. If you want a quicker edit, you can go with natural or beauty smooth skin. What you doing? And here I'm showing you the texture. Now, since I've already edited everything, I'm just going to take out his little hooded eye wrinkle. Click your clone stamp. Mine's set to 50 with a flow of 40. She just dropped my mouse. Find the top. And it like I said before, it just takes out the texture. It doesn't affect the skin tone or colors. But for today's video purpose, I'm not going to keep the frequency separation, just because I've edited on the HF layer, and I'm just going to click the natural. It's quick and easy, and it's easier to follow. Now if you want to even out his tones even further, you can open up the foundation, double click the color box, select a tone, and then you'll just paint it all over him. Now I do go down to about 50%, but I believe I go back to 100 here in a second. There, stop. She's a little bit sick, so she's breathing through her mouth. I am going to highlight his face. I always highlight because I do enjoy a painterly almost effect. So when you play highlight, it will automatically select your dodge tool. Make sure it is set between 15 to 20%. Right now mine is set to 30. But I am switching it to 20. And I like to only highlight the T-zone where the light would naturally fall on your face. So literally, like if you were to draw a cross or a T on your face, your eyes are the cross across the T, and then the line down the middle of your face. Now the opacity is at 100, so it is a little stronger, probably to most people's liking. But just highlight anywhere where the light may fall on him. And we're going to turn our opacity down to about 70%, 62, 52. And then I'm not going to contour on him. Again, that would only be for maybe models or seniors. I do offer photo retouching services where if you love to take photos, but you're not completely comfortable with the actual retouching or editing, you can inquire about my prices at lsphotoretouching@gmail.com. I also have the pricing on my website at lsphotoshopaction.com. Here I made an oopsie. I'm not going to do that canceling. I'm going to make another snapshot so that if I need to go back, I can. Flatten. I'm going to make a background layer by hitting Control J, Control T, or Command T. And then I'm going to constrain it so that it doesn't stretch or skew. And then I'm going to pull him actually to the center of the image. Now I like the rule of thirds that she used in this. I just want him to be the center of focus here. I'm going to grab my marquee. I'm going to draw a rectangle around that edge there. And again, I'm making an action for this so that it is a one-click action. And then so this is a little bit more of a clean edit, but with a little bit extra, so the cropping and the resizing. But by doing it that way, you can still keep your like the actual size of your image versus cropping it down. I flatten again. Now we are in a harvest of memories, which is my autumn. Right now, these actions until July 31st at 11:59 Eastern, they are only $2.50. Originally, they're $10 since they are last year's actions that I've made and when I was just first getting started. But $2.50, can't beat that. And they look awesome in time for autumn. I'm going to play. Well, hi, baby. Say hi. Say Say hi, everybody. Say hi. No, no. Say hi. Roaster Mixie and the Roaster Racers. Oh. You gonna go watch it? Yeah, go watch it so mommy can do this. Go do it. So back to the image, I'm going to select Hay Fever Clean, which gives it a really nice golden glow, almost kind of like during the golden hour. I'm going to group them. I'm going to hit Shift and go down to the Sharpen. And then I'm going to group them by selecting the folder at the very bottom. I'm turning down the opacity. Like I said, opacity is going to be your best friend, because even if you make something too strong, you can always lower it to your liking. Now this is And the Leaves Came Tumbling Down. Now the water has a lot of nice oranges in it, so I'm just enhancing that. But you can paint it on brush or leaves or green bushes, and it will give it an orange fall tint. Now I'm hitting this maroonish. I'm taking my brush down to 30%, and I'm going to paint over the sand, and I'm not going to try to touch his skin and affect his skin tone, but just subtly make the sand a little bit warmer, because right now it looks a little bit more gray. I'm going to go over the edges one more time. And then a Festival of Fall or Autumn Pop is a color pop tool, where if your image doesn't have a whole lot of color, you can click that and it will add it. Make your image a little more vibrant. I'm going to turn down the opacity to 15%. And then a Festival of Fall color is actually for foliage or for your land, but I'm not going to use this today because we already did it with The Leaves Came Tumbling Down, but it gives you a little bit more of an option between the red, yellow, maroon, and brown and oranges and red. Now, if your image needs just a little bit more warmth, you can hit the warmth and it will make your image warmer. If it is cool, I feel like I've said that 1,000 times just now. And I do like it with the warmth. And then matte, you want to flatten before you run it. So flatten, hitting snapshot, and then flatten, and then I'm gonna hit matte. And I love the matte version, but there's just something I love just a little more, and I do it to all of my images. This is a Peachy Keen flare, and I've noticed I've put it below the matte flare so that it also has a matte effect. I'm not going to add it, but it is there if you want to use it. And I'm also going to delete the matte because, like I said, I'm going to use the final touch, the La Touche Finale action. You do have brushes. You have blush brush, color pop brush, depth brush, sharpen brush, and your flattening tools. But I am going, like I said, I use this on my kiddos' images. I use it on anybody that I take's image. It's my final step, and that's why it's, you know, the final action. I'm gonna run it, and then I'm gonna take you step by step through it. And you may have already seen it in my other videos. So right now this is your high pass filter, which gives your image, if it's a little bit dull or it needs just a little bit more of a sharpness pop, you can do this. I am going to take it up probably to a 6. You want to make sure that the edges of the eyes aren't rainbowed. Otherwise that's just way too much. Now it is grouped into a folder, so you want to open it by hitting the arrow. And then I have given you instructions on what to paint off. So I'm going to create a vector mask by clicking this rectangle with a circle. I'm going to hit Control-I to invert it, or Command-I on a Mac. And I'm just going to take a soft white brush and I'm going to paint it on him and then where his focal area is, because I don't want the background to be sharpened. I want it to stay nice and blurred. And then underneath that layer, there's a spotlight finisher. You're going to click it, and with a soft black brush, you're going to paint off of him. And I'm going to also go on his focal area as well, because this is where it is a little bit darkened and a little bit of matte put into it. That's why I said I was going to wait and use this. So with my brush at 80%, I'm going to brush it off of him, which is super wonderful because it makes him, he's the lighter area, so your eye is automatically drawn to him. Excuse me for not being able to talk today. And so it's really just matted the background. And then on your vignette, you can double click the gradient box and you can change the gradient color. Now that's already brown, so I'm not going to change that. And then where it's lighter, you can select his skin tone. You can also move it by double clicking the gradient fill box. You can move your vignette around. So if you have a client who you've seated in the rule of thirds, you can move it over on top of him. And then I'm going to paint off on the bottom layer because it says to. It just gives it a little bit more contrast, that bottom layer. So I take it off of the skin because I don't want it to appear muddy. And then I'm going to open my color balance. I'm going to click my shadows. And as you notice, a little bit of red and blues are added in, but I'm going to change this by adding a little bit of yellow. And this is only affecting your shadows right now. And so now we're in midtones, and we're going to add reds, and we're also going to add yellows. And you'll see the image is changing. And now highlights, I'm going to add cyan, and I'm going to add blue. And this is only affecting your highlights. And you can turn down the opacity to your liking. Right now it's at 65. But you can see what it was before. And there is a little bit of blue in your shadows. But you can turn the opacity down. I've turned it down to about 33. And I think that looks awesome. So we're going to make another snapshot. But I totally believe I'm done. I think it looks so beautiful, and I'm so thankful for Vintage Bow Photography for sending this in, because it's truly, truly a wonderful image, and I think the parents will enjoy this. I am also going to send you the fully edited version, and you can give it to your parents if you like. Just if you use it on your social media account, I just ask that you credit me. Now this is a clean edit with no retouching. This is just the fall actions. And this is the final image. So if you want to send in your own image, again, it is lsphotoretouching@gmail.com. And thanks for watching.